Hello everyone, this is Darcinovia here. This is my review on Return of the Jedi, the third film of the original trilogy, and what I consider to be one of the most underrated films, in my opinion, Star Wars: Return of the Jedi, um, or commonly known as Episode 6. Return of the Jedi, back when it was released back in 1983. People's expectations, those who loved Empire Strikes Back, was hoping for something even more epic, and they were hoping for something that follows up its dark, and grim ending, which George Lucas did the complete opposite. Now, this is not a review trashing the Return of the Jedi. This is quite the opposite. There's a lot of people that favor the other two films over Return of the Jedi, which, in my opinion, I think Return of the Jedi is actually better than A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, in my opinion. Maybe not from a filmmaking standpoint for Empire Strikes Back, but for me, it's better. Return of the Jedi, has always been mixed amongst the fans because there's those who love Return of the Jedi, like myself, and then those who hate it. Which the original trilogy purists, a lot of them shit on this film, despite them claiming to be original trilogy fans, because of various things. Oh, the Ewoks. The ending wasn't dark like Empire Strikes Back. Oh, Darth Vader turned good. Ugh. There's just certain things that they just didn't like, honestly. In my opinion, I felt this film, was a great ending to the Star Wars saga. If there was no more Star Wars movies or any material related to Star Wars, this would be a great ending point. But I'm going to talk about various things I like about the film and things I don't like. First, let's go about the things I don't like about the film. First, this does not apply to the original theatrical cut. This more applies to the special editions, and I want to bring up the special edition changes here. If there's anything I don't like is in the special edition, I don't like that fucking song that's played in Jabba's palace in that one scene. You guys know what I'm talking about in the special edition, where it has a stupid song which is completely out of place and completely breaks the flow of the movie. I don't know why George Lucas added that scene in the movie. At least in the special edition, I preferred the original theatrical cut of that scene. This was a more recent edition. This, to me, is the reason why I don't have the Blu-rays for the original trilogy, because that one scene is, as silly as that sounds, Darth Vader saying, "No. No!" completely ruins the moment. You have one of the most emotional parts of the entire movie, and Darth Vader says something. It's more emotional when Darth Vader doesn't speak. You know what Darth Vader's thinking when he picks up the Emperor. You don't need to hear him convey no. You know he's thinking that. And I feel like it just ruins that moment, just having him say that. I mean, you don't have to have him say anything. And no, the Hayden Christensen ghost does not offend me. I think it's ridiculous to make a big deal out of it. Though I do think it would have been nice if George Lucas released it. I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, other than those changes, I don't think the film is. I think the film holds up pretty well. The film itself, like the first act of the movie, even though there's those who complain about it because they feel like it's too slow, I don't agree. Even though it really doesn't have much to do with with the Emperor and all that other parts, the first act of the film is saving Han, because we care about Han, and the end of Empire Strikes Back, he was captured, and of course, that's what they're going to focus on in the first act, is rescuing Han. I enjoyed this part of the film. This also is the part of the film we actually get a glimpse of how powerful Luke has become over the past year. And without bringing up any supplemental materials, this shows how much Luke has learned throughout his journey. The hero's journey in this film it shows aspects of it being done. Luke is able to do all these tricks that Obi-Wan was able to do in the very beginning of the trilogy. He's able to use Force Choke. He's able to use Force Persuasion. Luke actually earned his powers. Everything he's got, he's earned it through hard work. And that's one thing that I loved about that part of the film. It shows how powerful Luke has become. And not to mention, In this scene, it also shows you just how many mistakes Luke makes. He's not perfect, and I think this showcases that. And I love, even though some Boba Fett fanboys will get offended, I felt it was kind of funny how Boba Fett, fell in the Sarlacc pit. Well, whether you think he lives or dies, that's up for interpretation, depending on if you consider the EU canon or not, and that's up to you to decide. But anyway, I felt like the film I think did a really good job bringing all things together, and I feel like the prequels I do feel like enriches this film in a lot of ways because it ties all those movies together. Not to mention, Luke, even though there's some signs that George Lucas may or may not know what he was doing, because Leia, I'm not going to get into some conspiracy theories here, that Leia was not intended to be his sister, that someone else was supposed to be in another series of films, but I don't care about that. I'm going to care about what's in this film. Do I feel like it was out of nowhere? No. Empire Strikes Back, if you pay attention, it foreshadowed that they were brother and sister in Empire Strikes Back when Luke was calling out to Leia. So I don't think that was out of nowhere. And as for the criticism of, which I'll get to the second act very soon, about George Lucas using another Death Star in Return of the Jedi, I don't see the big deal. I mean, I don't think you have any room to actually criticize George when J.J. Abrams in The Force Awakens 30 years later uses a fucking another Death Star. So, sorry people, I don't think you have any room to talk. Anyway, I'm sorry, I had to bring that up because people are going to bring that up. I didn't feel like it was lazy, and I don't feel like it felt the same as the first movie. It was far different. Honestly, the battle regarding the second Death Star wasn't the same as the one in Yavin. Not to mention, the second act of the film, where they get to Endor, I did like the chase scene with the stormtroopers, with Leia and Luke trying to prevent them from reporting to their commander. I really loved how that was shot. And of course, there's some things that may not like the Ewoks, but whatever. The Ewoks don't break this film for me. I mean, I'm indifferent towards the Ewoks. I don't hate them like a lot of people do. I don't think they're any worse than the fucking Porgs and The Last Jedi. Oh, by the way, fuck that film. Anyway, moving on. My favorite part of the film is definitely the third act. I think the third act is where this movie truly shines, in my opinion. I think this is, in my opinion, it has the best third act of any Star Wars movie. At least in my opinion, at the best third act. The stakes are high. The characters are actually in danger. The characters, you're not sure if they're going to make it out of there. It's the tension is there. And the Battle of Endor was not just a small-scale battle. It determines the fate of the entire galaxy. You actually care about what's happening because of the characters, which is something that this movie does well. And Luke Skywalker confronting Darth Vader and the Emperor was also well done. And Anakin's turn, back to the light side was great. It's like I enjoyed the third act of the film. I really did. And some people did not like Anakin, going back to the light side. They didn't like Darth Vader becoming good. And if those who actually don't approve of that, they obviously don't understand Star Wars. Return of the Jedi can be interpreted in a lot of ways. Because of Disney, the title means fucking nothing. It doesn't mean shit. But if we're going by what George Lucas had originally intended, Return of the Jedi can be two things. Darth Vader, the Jedi within Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker returns. That's one meaning. Or, I believe what it is, the Jedi return. Luke Skywalker, the first of a new Jedi Order that would one day rebuild the Jedi into a next generation of Jedi Knights that would be guardians of peace and justice throughout the galaxy. Disney is Anakin returning from the light. Well, you know what I mean. So yeah, I prefer to go with the Jedi returning. One thing I really loved about this film was the ending. I think the ending was great. I don't care if people say it's something out of a fairy tale. Hello, this is Star Wars. This is fiction. This isn't some dark, nihilistic bullshit that we have nowadays. This is how George Lucas intended to end the saga. Whether you like it or not, that final shot at the end of the movie I thought was great. You know, everyone's happy. Everyone is Luke, Han, and Leia. You know, they've accomplished their goals, and even though there's still a lot of stuff ahead of them in their life, but they still have accomplished their goals. And you know what? That is something that I love. The ending for Return of the Jedi, it felt complete, even though it did leave room for more adventures for these characters, which is something that various people later down the line would do. Long before Disney did their shitty fan fiction films. I love the ending for Return of the Jedi. It have a sense of hope. That despite all bad things happening, that things will eventually become right again. And this is what Star Wars is about for me. Star Wars isn't about this nihilistic bullshit that for some reason people seem to embrace. This film, I give this a 4 out of 5 stars. I think it's a good film. It's a good movie. I don't think it deserves the hate that it gets from the fans. Star Wars Return of the Jedi is where the story ends in the films. The Last Jedi, The Force Awakens, all that bullshit is just fan fiction made by people that hate Star Wars. This is real Star Wars, and I'm not going to accept any other films. So, guys, may the Force be with you, and Merry Christmas. Next time, I'm going to talk about the prequels. I'm going to review each one of them individually. Have a good day, everyone, and happy holidays.